Trump, the accidental president, but he is still very much the president of the United States, whether you want to admit it or not. Okay, I'm gonna use an example here, and it's gonna be about healthcare, because that's what we just went through. And it's the reason why I think I might actually see a problem. The Republicans for 6 years campaigned on repeal of the ACA, not on replacing it, because Republicans don't believe, and I'm talking about the individuals out there who honestly believe in the Constitution as a real document, not some amorphous living document. Republicans don't believe government should have a say one way or the other in what happens to our individual bodies. Yes, maybe they do argue about murdering children as abortions, but the overall argument that they use there is they don't want government involved, period. They're saying it should be at the states. A totally consistent argument. Trump has never said repeal. Always he has said fix healthcare. He understands repeal and replace is theater, not substance. It is the Republicans Trump wants to work, but Republicans are in control. For 6 years, they campaigned on repeal of healthcare. But since 2012, healthcare is here to stay. So Republicans instead are playing theater. They want repeal and replace. That is theater, and this is why I say that they want this. 1, Democrats already paid a heavy price. Why would they agree to play theater that would undo everything they already took a hit for? 2, the United States has a representative democracy. While the House of Representatives only needs 50%, half the 218 votes basically to get something passed. The Senate is the higher body, considered the higher body, and having less members, each vote has more impact. It was supposed to be as a higher chamber to represent states' rights. I've already went over that in other videos. 3, without Democrats, the Republicans need every vote from their party. The Democrats in 2009 took the hit because they had 60 votes. They wanted political coverage for moderates of their own party, so that's why they negotiated, or at least pretended to. In 2010, they just wanted political coverage for the moderates. They always could have pushed it through from early on, by the end of the first year. They just didn't. Under party loyalty, Republicans do not have those kind of votes. They have about 52 votes, possibly. 4, not every Republican is interested in playing theater. For some, like McCain and Susan Collins, I think it's more along the lines, they just want to fix healthcare, realizing it's not going anywhere. For Rand Paul, it's that he fundamentally believes the government should not be involved, period, which is basically what most Republicans honestly believe. His integrity is important to him, so he won't play theater either. 5, to many in public, they are not so dumb to think this is anything like repeal. Republicans are never going to like anything Congress does because it still leaves health care. The rest of us are smart enough to know this looks petty. A Republican Congress is taking away the one legislative achievement from the first African American president. They would probably say try racism. And I understand why, because it sure does look like it. I don't think that's it. It's just they know after 6 years of promising to repeal, they must do it. They also know they can't get rid of it, so instead of facing their own voters, showing a little courage, which we should expect from our leaders, and own up to the truth, they prefer to try and repeal and replace. That is theater to me. That's what I see as the problem. Trump understands, and he's getting frustrated with Republicans. He has put pressure on them, even to the point of saying, if they really insist on repeal and replace, then you have to get rid of the filibuster. He does understand how Congress works, and he knows if Republicans are going to be able to do this theater they insist on, then reporters need to be distracted. because if they are focused on Congress, gridlock happens. Reporters would be covering just how silly the repeal and replace argument really is. The Democrats would have airtime to also point out how petty it is. But I'm sure they would use the word racist, as I've already said. Trump is not evil. He just is there to do a job, and he can only do so much. His most powerful tool is access to get a message out. Right now, the true message is Republicans are too afraid to face reality, and so want to pretend they're doing something that they really aren't, not for the good of the country, but just to keep their jobs. In fairness, Democrats do the same thing when they're in power, but he has to deal with Republicans at the moment. Here is my concern. The filibuster I see as fundamental. It's been weakened, but it is the one tool that forces the majority to listen to the minority even though it's not an election year. It forces compromise, which is exactly what the Constitution is supposed to do, cause you to listen and protect the thoughts and the concerns of even the minorities of thought, not race, not sex, not gender, whatever. It's about the thought process. They wanted the best laws they could possibly get. His frustration, I don't want to lose that, okay, basically. Trump just wants Republicans to face reality. He will play along to get along, but in the end, the heavy lifting is Congress. His frustration is showing by attacking the filibuster. Again, he is a narcissist. He doesn't care about how it gets done, just that it does. If they insist on repeal and replace, fine, make it happen, do something. That's his answer. My concern is this country, and even more important, preserving the Constitution. I knew this meant constant vigilance, more so after we saw the House stay Republican, which was actually a shock for me. Not that he won, but that they did. I fear Trump's pressure just to get Republicans to show courage and admit to the base the truth. They might do the opposite and throw out the 60-vote filibuster rule. While I can't have much impact, doing nothing is not an option. And notice, through all of this, I did not once say I regret my vote, because all the reasons I reluctantly voted for Trump still stand today. I understood his flaws. I just worried more about the danger of a ruling elite that behaved so arrogantly to the very people they wanted to support them. I did not have a choice in 2016, so it's impossible to regret a vote if you have no alternative. It is this arrogance in those with the loudest voices that created this mess. I did the best I could with the sorry choices you imposed on us. That is not my fault, but I'm doing the best I can with the mess I had to deal with by understanding Trump's flaws and trying to watch out for dangers that you all are too distracted to keep a constant vigilance over, which is exactly what the media is supposed to do. The question is, when will you start to look at yourselves and ask, why did Trump win? And it would be nice if you started to finally look at your own actions for the last 8 years of treating us as if we should be seen and not heard, much like a child. A democracy means you must convince us you're right. If your actions offend us, then don't be surprised if we stop listening and actually look at your actions. Thank you. Now, having said this, I will notice that I did speak a lot about what I think Trump is thinking. And I made it sound like I know that that's what he's thinking. Okay? I want you to understand, I fully do understand, I don't have a mind-reading ability. I have no idea. You may very well be right, and he might actually be the biggest idiot you've ever seen. I just happen to believe that all the times he's made a mistake and the media said that's the end for him, and somehow or another he comes back, I just don't believe a person can be that lucky. So I happen to think that he does have a little bit of a brain, even if we don't understand what it is.